Welcome back to Jungle Gap. Just to quickly give some context to this video, I recently had a coaching session with a student who fit the classic low elo narrative. He felt disheartened after playing the game for so long with little to no ranked progress to show for it, struggling to improve individually with common frustration of bad teams, trolls, etc. So today I'm showing this session where we talk about the correct mentality that you should have regardless of your circumstances. This will put you in the right mindset to focus on improvement rather than your rank, which will result in you climbing without even realizing it. Now, there's going to be some random niddly game I played in the background for your entertainment while you listen along. Remember, when there's a big enough sample size, the rank system is never wrong and will place you exactly where you deserve to be. What's up, everyone? If you are someone who takes league improvement seriously, check out my Patreon where you can get access to over 300 coaching sessions just like the one in this video, as well as weekly group coaching sessions and much more. There are options for every budget, so take the first step in reaching your goals right now.
The goal of the game is to get to gold. I have this thought in my head that if I'm out of iron or bronze, it'll be more enjoyable because there's going to be less trolls. But I kind of feel like they're everywhere too. So
yeah, that's not going to change. I think that's something that you have to accept, and we're going to be talking about that as well. How to deal with the other players in the game, because I think this is one of the things that I think the high elo players kind of have a better understanding, but they still get sucked into it. But kind of getting sucked into our teammates' pings, into the chat, into following their bad plays, all this stuff is what we really want to try and avoid. Like, I think I had it in a YouTube video the other day. Someone said, playing the game like you're doing like a run, where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this run, and I don't have a, X fight me, bro, X Lucian player on my team, right? That's his name. I don't have this human as my player. It's just Lucian, right? It's just AI. It's just like, he is the champion in the game. And where you're playing the game like there's no players, it's just like a solo game where you have to try and make all the best decisions and you're trying to go for a really high percentage run, right? Win or lose, you're trying to go for like a high percentage run. Does that make sense?
yeah,
It's like I'm trying to make as many good decisions as possible, and I'm going to cut out that teammate interaction completely. I think that's something, obviously this is an extreme way to put it, but if that's what it kind of takes, because some people get sucked in more than others, right? Some people can think, oh, my teammate's pinging this and I don't really care, I'm going to do my own thing, which is what you should be thinking. But some people really just get sucked in like, oh, my teammate wants help, okay, I'm going to go help him, which is not the right approach at all, which is probably something we're going to be talking about in today's session, especially because it sounds like, yeah, what you said, dealing with trolls, dealing with all this kind of thing, it's going to be forever. So yeah, get strapped in, because that's going to happen until you're challenger. Like, even in my games, it's like, yep, there's that guy again.
Gotcha.
So obviously I think in lower elo, it's probably more frustrating just because people are also, when you're in iron or in gold or in silver or in bronze, like, you're not really sure, okay, is this guy pinging me to do this? Is this the right play? Is he pinging something that's actually a good play? Right? So it's a bit harder when you don't know what the right play is, which is also something we're going to be working on today.
Yeah,
what are the right plays? Yeah.
Yeah, that's, it's hard for me to figure out and get better when, these people are so terrible. I think I'm doing the right play, or there's no team fight, or there's just one guy running in circles and 0-10,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and you have to also think, like, that guy that's 0-10, okay, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't prevent someone from going 0-10, no matter what. Okay, trying to do that, trying to like bandage someone who's going 0-10 is never a good idea. Someone going 0-10 is always going to happen in some of your games. Okay, let me put it like this for you, which is a way I like to explain it. In 70% of games, you will have influence to have an impact to win the game, right? You'll have the ability to out-impact the enemies and win, just based off like, your macro and your champion mastery and being really good at your champion and having some good fundamentals. You'll be able to carry those games. 70%. Now, 15% of the games, you're going to instantly lose. You're going to have that guy 0-10 running around in circles. And then the other 15%, of that 100% is actually games that you're automatically going to win, where like you just get carried, right? And the enemy team has the guy running around in circles 0-10. And usually we only remember when it's on our team. You know, every player only remembers when it's on their team, right? That's the only we only remember the bad stuff. We don't remember when we just got carried ever. So yeah, and that's the whole goal. The whole goal is to play 100 games, 15% of losses. In those 15% losses, recognize, okay, this was a very challenging game. What can I take from it? Okay, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. I could have made that run a little bit better. Okay, it's fine. Next game. And we also don't want that game, and I know it's very difficult, we don't want that frustration of that game to bleed into the next one. Because if it bleeds into the next game that we play, maybe in that game now we think, oh, I need to try and do better. I need to force more ganks. The last game, the Jarvan was ganking all the time and he kept getting kills. Okay, now I'm going to do the same. Right? So then you start 50-50 play, right? You start coin flipping. You start misdiagnosing what the actual issue was in the game. Which, yeah, this is the very, very challenging part of also maybe not having a coach with you and figuring out all on your own. It's quite difficult because you're just not sure, was that a good play? Am I doing the right thing? Do I need to change something up? And yeah, we're going to build a foundation that you can know what the right plays are. You can know what you should be doing. Okay, so one of the biggest reasons why I do OPGG reviews, and I can see you are kind of sticking to, you know, Shyvana right now, which seems to be doing pretty good, right? But the biggest thing I'm gonna like target already is, you know, if you told me your goal is to just learn jungle a little bit better, and you know, you don't really care about climbing, whatever, I wouldn't really worry about you playing so many different champions. Okay? I would be like, okay, well, this guy doesn't really, you know, his goal isn't to climb, it's just to like become a better jungler. Okay, that's fine, right? But if your goal is to climb, you always have to think less champions is better. Always.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. And the reason for that is because you don't want to be, so if you have like 5 champions here, out of 10, you don't want to be like 2 out of 10s in all of those 5 champion. You would rather play 1 champion and be 10 out of 10. Because you can't be really, really good at 5 champions at the same time. It's just impossible. Because you'd rather all of that sample size, all of those games to be put into that 1 champion, because the ceiling of each champion is very high. Very, very, very high. Some more than others, obviously. And so that if someone came to me right now and said, oh, what should I do to climb? I would tell them to play like easy champions like Shyvana, Amumu, Rammus. And I would tell them, okay, just play few champions and get really good at them. And figure out a way that you can consistently like perform on them. So, Hail of Blade Cilia, this one's interesting.
That one, no. So that one actually, I just
got the wrong
didn't.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
slid down.
That caught my attention there because I saw Lilia and I saw Hail of Blade. I was like, some new tech.
So Lilia,
yeah,
I've tried lately just to find a champion, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah. You're in your exploring phase.
Yep, most of them are around like 50%.
Yep.
You know, Lilia and Nocturne were mains before. Heimerdinger was my first main way back in the day.
Yep.
That was kind of just some fun stuff. But Shyvana, I try to follow the meta a little bit just to, if I know they're strong, give them a shot, try to learn them a little bit.
Yep.
Kindred's kind of a fun one with the marks, but
yep.
I think it's a higher level and, you know, trying to figure out when to invade or when to get the marks when you're low elo and your team's not going to rotate. It's kind of pointless.
So let's take a look at this now. I'm gonna bridge you off on that, what you're talking about. So like when we're thinking about a champion to pick, when we're thinking about what champion to pick, the most important thing is that you like playing them. Yeah, that's number 1. So if you really love playing Teemo jungle, you know, obviously I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend Shyvana because if we look at win rates, okay, this is what it's gonna teach us. Okay, let's see Kindred in low elo. Okay, let's see Kindred in bronze. Not too good. Let's see Kindred in challenger. Okay, hang on. We need to go on the previous patch. We need a bigger sample size.
Yeah, it just changed this morning or today, didn't it?
Yeah. Let's see Kindred and Challenger. Okay, 58%. Bronze, 46%. Okay, so pretty big. And why is this? Because Kindred is a champion that is has quite a high skill ceiling, and you need quite a high level of champion mastery. It's less to do with your teammates, okay, with Kindred, and it's more to do with your the Kindred is a hard champion to play, and you already need quite good fundamentals and good mechanics to play her. Now, let's compare this to okay, let's do another one actually. Nidalee. Like, what do you think about Nidalee? It's going to be the same, right?
Yeah, I've never played in Italy. I try, like, kind of as you said, I try to stay away from the more complicated ones.
Yeah.
So I don't even try it.
And yeah, so if a champion, if you were to come to me as a new player or even just a bronze player and say, well, okay, so like, what do I do then? Okay, I just say, okay, well, you need to pick champions like this. Amumu. Let's see, challenger. Okay, it's still pretty high because there's only 120 games, but let's see like master. Still pretty decent, right? In master and emerald, still pretty decent, but even in silver and bronze, it's still really, really good. So what this tells you, this like, you know, this kind of like percent and win rate and stuff like that, is that usually these champions have a less, like a lower win rate at high elo. The more straightforward ones, the lower skill ceiling ones, like Briar, for example. I think this is going to be like, oh, it's still pretty good actually. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, these champions are the ones you want to pick. The ones you want to pick is the ones with higher win rate at low elo, because let's see, Shyvana. Shyvana's going to be insane, I think. Yeah, insane, right? You want to pick these champions because it's more straightforward and you can just focus on the fundamentals instead of having to focus on like these marks and these kindred mechanics and knowing all these little intricate details about things, right? You just want to play the thing. These champions are also champions that are really good at full clearing. So Amumu, Shyvana, they full clear, you get your dragon, you ulti on someone, you don't have dragon anymore, and it kind of tells you how to play the game. Like the Shyvana and the Mumu. You fight when you have ult, you don't fight when you don't have ult. And this is really important to lower elo players because it gives them some kind of like structure. Whereas Kindred, right? Kindred on the other hand, she's very, very, very like, she could full clear, she could invade, she could gank, she could do this, she could do that. It becomes much more like you need to be creative and really rely on your mechanical execution. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's much more like diversity and like volatility when playing these kinds of champions. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend Kindred, but if you were to come to me and you're like, I love Kindred and I'm going to play 100, 200, 300 games of her and I could do that and I could still have fun, then that obviously takes priority. So that's what I'll kind of leave you with. But yeah, you need to figure out, summing this whole conversation up, you need to figure out what champions you want to play and you need to stick to them. So you can't play, let's see how many unique champions you play here. Obviously you're in your exploring phase. This is still pretty good because you're playing a majority of Shyvana. But yeah, when you play Talon and when you randomly play Cho'Gath and when you randomly play like, I don't know, you play like Teemo, Brand, you see how many different champions are here? Karthus.
Yeah.
So you're exploring.
I mean, I wouldn't be against Talon and Shyvana.
I think that's great because you have a... Yeah, that's good. So you would be committed to just playing Talon and Shyvana now, right?
I can't, yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's stick with that for now. And yeah, let's queue up for a game now because I think